Hey, Screaming Geek Me here. I am Jerry the Geek. We got another 4K review for you today where you're going to talk about Renfield. But before we get into that, I feel like physical media, 4Ks, Blu-rays, DVDs, home theater, movies in general, please check out my other videos on my channel because I do these reviews. I do unboxings, collection updates, discussions. Check that stuff out. Hit the like button, subscribe. Turn your bell notifications on, and always comment below, let me know what you think of anything. So let's talk about the 4K of Renfield. The movie just came out last year in 2023. It's got Nicholas Hoult. He plays the role of Renfield. Nicolas Cage as Dracula. And then we got also Awkwafina, directed by Chris McKay. This is definitely a different take on the Legend of Dracula because it all revolves around the character of Renfield instead of Dracula. Even though Dracula does have a main role in it, but everything centers on Renfield and his life, what he has to do, his job, And after seeing, I can see why some people didn't like this. I know this had a mixed bag of reactions from the public. The cool thing is Nicolas Cage has always wanted to play the Dracula role, just never had a chance. Of course, his uncle, Francis Ford Coppola, actually directed, Bram Stoker's Dracula. He has always been mesmerized by the character, the, vampires. In one of the interviews, he actually talks about his dad actually showed him Nosferatu back when he was like 5 years old, so he was always mesmerized by that character. I think a cool thing with this movie, it definitely does, even though it is on its own, but it does play homage to the original Dracula. Actually some of the flashback scenes where they're telling a backstory, they actually reenacted some of the scenes from the original Dracula with the new actors, so I thought that was pretty cool. Especially after just watching the original just last couple of weeks. But this movie, they take it to a whole nother level. It's kind of, the brutal kills, real bloody. It's all modern. The fight scenes are crazy. I mean, this reminds you, it's like watching Dracula with some John Wick mixed into it. It's pretty freaking crazy at times. Definitely they go over the top. It's just no holds barred. But I really love this movie. And regardless of what anybody else says, this is really enjoyable. Now, this 4K release comes from Turbine. As when it hit video last year, Universal did not put it on 4K. It's one of the Universal's things. They wait 6 to 8 months, but now it's been been almost a year since it came out. It's only on Blu-ray. So right now, if you want this 4K, Turbine is the only way to go. You can also get this through Amazon Germany. You can also get it through Amazon Germany, which we'll get to that at the end. I'll tell you how to actually pick this up. But the movie was filmed in digital, has a 4K digital intermediate, HDR10 and Dolby Vision. Now, before getting into the actual video quality, a couple of cool things to note about this is at the beginning, when you get to the language screen, before it goes to the main menu, it actually comes up to the language screen here. You can see, I thought that was pretty cute. But since I hadn't seen the movie, I didn't, catch it until until later on. It's like, oh, now it makes sense of why they did that design. I thought it was pretty cute. And also it has before it gets into the movie, you got the Dolby Atmos trailer, which is pretty well done. Not all discs have that on it, so I've seen it a couple times. So it's cool that that's thrown in there to advertise Dolby Atmos. So for the video presentation here, because it was filmed in digital, this thing looks absolutely flawless. I mean, the details and the textures are incredible. It has that rich, deep contrast. The solid whites really come off the screen. The blacks, the colors are nice and solid. His red robe in the early beginnings, and a couple of dark scenes. The background, some of the different colored hues. One shot you'll see some blue hues in the background. All of a sudden, another shot you'll see some reds. So this thing looked phenomenal. Now, as far as a Blu-ray comparison, like I said, I didn't get the regular Blu-ray, But comparing with the Blu-ray here, this is an all region, so you can play the Blu-ray. But being digital, I mean, the Blu-ray looks pretty flawless in itself. There are very subtle differences between the two. You know, the average person is not going to notice the difference. As far as the transfer, I don't know if Turbine used the same transfer that Universal did, if they did their own. You know, please, if anyone knows, you know, comment below, but I'm sure they probably used the same thing. Now for the audio, they gave us a Dolby Atmos track here, where the, of course, you know, the Blu-ray only has a Dolby 7.1. I don't have Atmos, I have 5.0, so, but overall, this audio track was very solid. Clear dialogue throughout. Everything had a nice, well-balanced. Everything sounded natural. Good use of surrounds. Great atmosphere. You had nice, subtle sounds. Some nice, subtle bass here and there. Not a lot. You know, it wasn't really needed, but it does kick in a couple of times, but not a lot, but it sounds really nice. And of course, the score was done by Marco Beltrami. He's done some great music scores. So that really kicks in throughout. Now for the packaging, this is a steelbook. This is actually the slipcase. There you can see the front there. And there's a cool design on the back. And we'll slide actually steelbook comes out. And that's actually the front of the steelbook. Very nice. And there we have the back. It's a very cool design. I love this. And different artwork, gorgeous artwork on both of the discs, the Blu-ray and the 4K. And we'll pop these discs out so you can see the inside. Nothing fancy, just the Renfield logo on the inside. Got it done in the black and white. Another part where they're paying homage to the original. Now for the bonus features here, we have a little bit, actually I had to take a picture of the actual screen and use those because the card on the back was all German, so I had no clue what the freaking said. So we had deleted and extended scenes, which all these together ran about 21 minutes. I'm not big on deleted scenes because usually 99% of the time the scenes are deleted for a reason because they don't add anything. But there's also some alternate takes here, and there's we have the Lowell compound and murder room, Renfield's dance, which I did watch that because they had a making of, and I'm glad that was cut off because even though it was cute on its own, I don't think it fit within the movie. I think it would have hurt the overall tone as you watch the movie. It just didn't fit. But it was pretty cool, so I'm glad I include that with a bonus. Also, we have Mark gives Renfield advice, newscaster, Lobo gang, they meet their Dracula, the Coda kill, and the apartment fight, which was freaking over the top, was pretty crazy. Then we had the making of Renfield, a whole bunch of featurettes, totaling for about 39 minutes. I watched these. These are pretty cool. We had Dracula Uncaged, Monsters and Men, Stages of Rejuvenation, which, throughout the movie you see the different stages of a Dracula character, which that was all done with practical effects, which they did an awesome job. Which I didn't mention at the beginning when I talked about the movie, I probably should have. I like the Dracula designs, and within that, the one thing I didn't like was the Dracula teeth. They look good for the most part, but when his upper lip came up in a lot of shots and you got to see the gum line, for some reason that felt distracting. I didn't like that, how much of the gum line you seen. So if they would have kept that hidden, I think that would have been a little bit better, but I think that was just me being a little bit nitpicky. But yeah, I just felt that kind of distracted me a little bit when they showed all that gum line with the teeth. But anyways, another featurette we had was Flesh and Blood, Fighting Dirty, and the making of Renfield's dance, which that was pretty cool. Which, since it was cut out of the movie, I didn't know anything about that, so then I went back and watched the actual deleted scene of that. Then we also have some trailers and TV spots, both U.S. and German versions. So not a lot in the bonus, but you do have an hour's worth of stuff to go through if you're interested in watching those deleted and extended scenes. You know, those making of featurettes were most of them were pretty short, but had some pretty cool little snippet interviews, pretty interesting. So to wrap it up, a phenomenal release here. Again, if you've got the Blu-ray, if you like it, you might be okay keeping that since the 4K is limited, no US version. But if you're a steelbook collector, I would recommend getting this from Turbine. So the choices we have, if you're okay with getting the Blu-ray, Amazon has it for $8.99. Grub has it for $7.99. I'm wondering if, since it's low prices, if we could see the 4K coming out in the US, because the UK is getting a 4K next week. So if you want the 4K and you want to wait, until next week, the UK version is £25, which works out to be about $33. Zavi US will have it for about $33. But if you want this steelbook from Turbine, you can get it straight from them for about 27.69 euros, which works out to be about $30 US. Plus, then you got to throw shipping in there. Amazon Germany had it as well for about $30 US. So whichever choice you go with, I would recommend adding this to your collection. I really enjoyed this movie. I know some people out there didn't like it. Had a different take. Like I said, I really loved it. I'm glad I did not regret getting this. I'll watch this many times in the future. And I'm glad Nicolas Cage finally got to do the role he fell in love with and always wanted to do. And I'm glad it did a lot of practical effects. There is some CG, but not that much. So I'm glad they went the practical effect route. So that pretty much does it for my look at the 4K of Renfield with Nicolas Cage and Nicholas Hoult. Please comment below, let me know what you think. If you got this on Blu-ray and you're thinking about picking up the 4K, or if you're someone like me that was holding out for 4K because Universal can't get their heads out of their ass about how they release stuff. So again, comment below. Check out my other videos on my channel. Like, subscribe, turn your bell notifications on, and we'll see you soon. Geek out.